Hi, good morning, guys. My name is Sara. I'm an astrologer in Toronto, Canada, and it is April the 11th, 2021, Sunday morning. I'm recording this for my newsletter community. Today we have new moon in Aries. It's happening probably around 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that would be around 7 p.m. on the Pacific Coast. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what the archetypes are and what the meaning is and how I'm feeling the impulse of this new moon. As we know, a new moon is the time when we set an intention or we plant a seed. It's a dark time of the month in that there is no solar energy coming onto the planet, or at least for half of the cycle in the night. So when we get this relief from the sun's rays, we get a time of repose. It's a time of inward searching or inward connection when we tap in to the archetypal pulse that's trying to work through us and clear through us and bring a new evolutionary input or a new lesson through us. Okay. And the impulse that generally wants to come through us at the new moon can be transcribed or interpreted by looking at the collection of planetary aspects that are happening at the sky at the time of the new moon. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to talk to you about that, what's going on right now in the sky. So we have a large stellium in Aries today. There are four major planets, well, three planets and the moon, and Chiron, all sitting in Aries. So Chiron, Mercury, Moon, Sun, and Venus, sitting together in a large clump of this archetype. We also have the Sun and the Moon conjunct in Aries, sextiling Mars in Gemini and Jupiter in Aquarius. So our new moon is happening at around 22 degrees of Aries, and they will form almost a perfect sextile to Jupiter and Mars. That creates a powerful constellation in fire, Aries, and air, Gemini, Aquarius. So that seems to me to be the eruption impulse of the energy today. There is this intensification of Aries, Aquarius, and Gemini. There are a few, I'm going to talk about what that means in a second, so don't worry, I'm just setting it up. There are a couple of other things happening right now. I think namely the one I am most acutely aware of is the one that is the thematic overarching umbrella of our 2021 year. It's the Saturn in Aquarius square Uranus and Taurus. This is a repeating aspect that is continuing to unfold as we move through this 12-month period. I haven't given a lot of time to talking about it, but I did an interview with Anna Hendricks in December of 2020 that was discussing it. And I'm thinking I might put that up on my YouTube channel and maybe post it on my website as well, if anybody is interested in that. I don't really want to spend a lot of time talking about the Uranus-Saturn square today, except to say that, well, it is the theme upon which all of today's new moon is being built. So the theme of this year has to do with redefining what it means to be in society, redefining what it means to create society and to organize ourselves collectively, Saturn in Aquarius, versus square, what it means to survive, what it means for each one of us to have the right to own our own body, Taurus, to own our own security, and to, in some way, be free, Uranus, to declare ourselves the right to be who we are in a safe way on this earth. So while we have these incredible collective forces that are organizing themselves and trying to spin themselves into a new reality or a new paradigm or a new way of organization socially all across the planet, we simultaneously have this intense desire to be free, an intense need to survive. And sometimes that survival need or that survival impulse is going to lead us down this road toward collective action. And sometimes it's going to lead us down this road. And there's this negotiation happening right now between our survival need and our very powerful need to create a new global community, right? And to create the rules for that community and to create the structures for that community. So this is a theme that's going on for the entire year. And I guess, I mean, none of you out there are stupid, I think, but, you know, I don't want to input too much of my own interpretation on this theme, right? And each one of you is experiencing this in your own way. So the way I'm experiencing it may not be the way you're experiencing it. It can happen on the micro level within each of our lives individually. It is happening on the micro level individually, and it's also happening collectively. So these archetypes play out at multiple levels, and each one of us as an individual input is inserting ourselves into the collective and doing our personal work that radiates outward and affects the whole. And, you know, depending on your chart and what you are as an individual, you may be working at a collective level. You may be inputting globally, or you may be inputting personally within your family, within your own psychological structure, within your own relationships. It's totally, totally individual, right? For me, what strikes me personally in my experience as being reflective or representative of this Taurus square Aquarius is quite obviously this whole theme of vaccine passports and control of our bodies versus our need as a collective to feel safe with each other, right? And to organize the rules and the ways that we access life and the ways that we connect with each other and keep each other safe. We're trying to define those rules. But many people are saying, wait a second, I want to be in society, but you don't have a right to take away my right to protect myself. And if I don't want to participate in your rules, does that mean I don't have a right to survive here anymore? Does that mean I don't have a right to be safe in my body, right? So there's this rebelliousness or this liberation that's happening as it bumps up against these rules and this order. And it doesn't necessarily, you can be on one side, you can be on the other side. It doesn't matter. It's like you're playing your part in this negotiation that's happening. And it is a negotiation, right? A square is a negotiation. It's not an either or aspect. It's a both and aspect. So we have to make room for both of these impulses, and we have to come to an agreement with both of them. So today, I want to say that the invitation for us within this unfolding of the larger umbrella is to reconnect with our freedom. And when I say freedom, I don't mean political freedom. I don't mean, social freedom. I mean our innate freedom, our innate right to be. How many times do you consider your deepest level of sovereignty, your deepest level of impulse, right? Who you really are before any of this comes into play, before the society you live in comes in, before the parents you have come in, before the job you have has come in, before the job you have comes in, before anything else, you are you. You enter into your life, you take your first breath, and there you are. And that as that first breath of life brings itself into your body, you are suddenly liberated from your mother, from the womb, from the cosmic unity field. You are suddenly free to be who you are. And then, unfortunately, this planet, it's so cute. It starts to just dump a whole bunch of crap on you, right? shame, blame, rules, organization, expectations, language, concepts, culture, society, schooling, work, all of the stuff. It starts to layer on. It starts to layer on. And that's fine. That's what we're here to learn about. That's what we're here to be. But don't ever think for a moment that when you die, you're going to bring any of that stuff with you, because you're not, right? You enter as you and you leave as you. And there is a you-ness that is a unifying element within the entire life cycle that we experience here on Earth. And that impulse toward really being what we are, and that forcefulness toward fighting against anything that wants to stand in our way from being our authentic self, is the archetype of Aries. Okay, that's the archetype of Aries. It's the first breath of life. It's the first impulse toward being. Aries is a powerful energy, right? It's not a sustaining energy. It doesn't hold down the fort long term. In fact, it's a very nebulous and tenuous energy. Aries, I find, and I have quite a lot of Aries in my chart. Mars in Aries, Jupiter in Aries, Chiron in Aries, like many of my generation, and planets in my first house as well. So I organize around Aries. And what I've learned about it over the years is that Aries is wonderful fuel, but it will burn out. It needs to be nurtured. It needs to be tended. It's like a small, it's like the embers of a fire, right? When you're not paying attention, and if you break away or go too fast, or which is Aries tendency, that fire somehow becomes deadened or lessened. And it's important for us to tap into our primal essence. It's important for us to tap into our instinct. It's important for us to make room and make space to go back to ourselves and to reconnect and to make friends with it and to make peace with it, because it is the underpinning of our blueprint, right? Our essence, or our primal will, is what we are. And when we organize ourselves around all of the projections, or all of the roles, or all of the expectations, or all of the relationships, we lose touch with who we are. And inevitably that leads to suffering, because it's why we came here, is to be ourselves. So on this day, it's an important invitation to return to ourself, and to return to that primal part of us, and that quiet part of us, and that part of us deep inside that is so strong that it will smolder and burn through anything that is not it. And the warrior in us, the warrior that wants to be free, is what we need to organize around right now, so that we are not swept up in this frenzy of activity that's happening outside of us in the collective. If you can find your home, if you can find your own will, then you will know what choices are instinctually right for you and what direction you need to go in. If you can't find your will, if you're broken out of it, you will be pulled here, you will be pulled there, you will be pulled all over the place. And you'll find that, the things that you get pulled into are emotional, right? They're psychological. There's depression over here. There's lethargy over there. There's fear. There's anxiety. There's trauma. What do you think has the power to break through all of that? Aries, you have the power to break through all of that. You are the power to break through all of that. You are the only power that will break through all of that. So reconnecting with that inner sense of strength, courage, bravery, that is what we are claiming space for today at this new moon. Now, that power wants to go in two different directions right now, because of the sextile to Jupiter in Aquarius and the sextile to Mars in Gemini. So I think symbolically what that says to me is that when I tap into my vital essence, like my primal self, and I anchor into that strongly, what that me wants to be is joyfully connected to others in a way that is collectively beneficial, that is that gives me a place within the collective where I don't have to hide, where I will not be censored or stopped, where I have a right to declare myself and to be free, and where I have a right to speak who I am, Mars and Gemini, and assert myself on an equal ground, equal to all other people who have the right to assert themselves within the collective field. And this Aries energy, I believe today, if we can invoke it, if we can claim it, it's asking us to say, before my mind gets a hold of things, before my mind gets a hold of things, before my emotions get a hold of things, who am I? What am I? And how can I anchor into that strength and courage of myself so that I can be the best I can be inside this new world that seems to be unfolding, right? This new collective field that seems to be existing. And when I am anchored in that self, I can connect with other people in a more unique, liberated, and creative way, and more intuitive way, perhaps. Now, tonight I'm giving a like a lecture, or kind of like a webinar, I guess you call it. I don't even know what to call it. On the archetype of Aries. It's going to be happening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. If you want to join, please head over to my website. I'll put the link below on the channel if you're interested. I'm going to be talking about the archetypal nuance of Aries from a number of different levels, from mythic level, evolutionary level, shamanic level, and esoteric level. Okay, so I'm going to be going through kind of like what Aries is in these different astrological paradigms or disciplines, to sort of get it to bring like a little bit more of like an overarching understanding philosophically of what this archetype means. But one of as I've been doing my research for this and preparing for the last couple of weeks, the one thing always comes back to me that is the most essential quality of this archetype, and that is the quality of intuition. And it's something that we do not associate with Aries at all. But it is so powerfully a part of this archetype. Primal will is divine. Aries comes from Pisces. Aries comes from the whole, from the universe, from the collective. It comes from God into life. And if we tap into that primal essence, we remember what we are here to be and to do. So please today take some time and remember yourself, and know this as well. Mercury is in Aries right now. You know, our minds love to get excited about things, but this energy is about being, not about thinking. It's about being. And the other thing I will just leave you with, to tap into it, you go into the quiet place, right? You go into the primal self, and you feel, what is my will? Where is it? Where is my will force? Can I track it? Can I find it? Is it here? Is it here? Is it here? Where is it? How far can I go into it? How much can I feel it? How much can I allow it to be in me? Can I play with it in my body? Where does it want to go? How does it want to express itself, right? What does it want to be? Who am I? That is the question to ask yourself, okay, when you're doing your ceremony or your meditation tonight. and to stay still during this process, or at least relatively still. Because one of the things that I've noticed about Aries is it always wants to run ahead. It's like, whoosh, it's kind of like always forward motion with its head just like butting forward. And what it wants, what I would invite you to do today is to kind of reclaim. I was watching something by Jason Hawley the other week on Aries, and he started off his talk by getting everybody to stand up and go into a power stance. I thought it was genius, because what Aries needs to learn how to do is how to stand. Okay, it needs to learn how to be still. Because when it's still, it anchors into the primal will, and the primal will rise and will embody what you are. You want to bring that will all the way up from your tailbone, all the way up your spine into here. Okay, it wants to be. It reminds me of when I was 21 and going through my awakening. And my awakening experience was this moment where I was sitting in a room with a couple friends. And I had been having some pretty crazy multidimensional experiences leading up to this. So it wasn't just out of the blue, but it was very shocking. And I'm sitting there, we're having a conversation, and all of a sudden, this energy, like a force of nature, basically like a volcano, came rushing up my whole body from my tailbone, all the way up my spine, all the way up my body. And then my head went back, my throat opened up, and like this primal scream erupted out of my mouth. And I just, in front of my friends, like I would never behave like this. I was way too socially conscious and insecure, that this thing just came out of me and erupted into this enormous scream. And then when the scream was done, when the scream had exhausted itself, when the energy had broken through everything that was there, what followed it was laughter. I started laughing, and it was just like gales of laughter. And after about 5 minutes, I sat back and I looked around at my friends, and they were looking at me and they were like, whoa. And that was it. I was here. It was like a rebirth. And from that point on, I was never the same thing again. Totally new, right? That's the power of the birth of our primal self when it comes all the way up. So don't get lost. Don't rush around. Stop, feel, ground, be. It's yours. It's your strength. It's your power. It's your blueprint. It's your right. You are you. You came here for a reason. Do not let anything stand in your way from being who you are here for. That's the only thing that matters, okay? Or the primal thing that matters. And we build on that throughout the year, but let's start at ground zero and claim it today. Okay, I love you, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.